Let's talk about transitions. A transition is basically a way to get your story from point A to point B. And there are so many different ways to get there. Well, great! I made it all the way into the woods. But how do I keep continuing my story from here, and how do I get home? Let's try a harsh but easy transition for this. Into my car. Now, and back home. So when looking into this, I found out that there are so many ways to do transitions. And I loved most of them. And I saw how creative you can be with just trying a few of them. But today I'm going to show you my favorite ones and the easiest ones to start with. And we already did 3 of those. So the first one we did was really the long way to go. It was just shooting B-roll, clearly knowing where the story is heading in your head, and you shoot each sequence and put them together as one longer story. The second one was the match cut, which is quite the opposite of that. Always use this whenever you're not clearly sure where the story is going. And you can pick it up any way you like, but just using the same motion or the same movement. So, speaking of cuts, I would need a haircut. See? So easy, but yet so effective. Let's change it back for now. The third transition we used in this part is pretty similar to the match cut, to be honest. Yeah, but it's an object-subject movement part. So you start a movement in the first cut and you finish it in the second. So, as you can see, these are very similar, but the second one is a little bit more subtle. But as fun as all these transitions are, you always need to have a clear storyline in mind. Because the viewer can follow if you keep jumping all over the place using the coolest transitions ever, but you don't have a clear storyline. So you always need to explain why you're going places, and you also always need to finish the movements you started. By the way, I didn't catch that ball, did I? Another transition that I really liked is the so-called zoom transition. You can use these in different variations. You can use this in a very subtle way, but you can also use this in a more exaggerated way. Let me show you. Well, we can see this beautiful Berlin landmark from our apartment window. Let's go there using the zoom transition. Well, now I made it all the way across town using one transition, but I can't see my house from here. So, how do I get back? Let's try out some other transitions, explaining my way back. So the last transition I used in the part just now is very subtle and very hard to see. So we might need to run it back to actually see it. There. This is what we're looking for. This blurry thing at the end of each clip. This technique is considered as a whip pan. So you kind of like move the camera to one side pretty quickly to create this blurry motion. And from there you make the cut. You can use this in many different ways. One would be stitching together scenes that you shot, but you can also use this technique to get into the viewer's eyes and have them be in the room with you and maybe watch a dialogue between 2 people. What do you want? No worries. Well, I do hope you could learn a little bit about transitions today, and in the end it's really all about your own personal creativity to use these and explore these, because there's a framework you can follow, but in the end it's a creative process that you can just do to improve your storytelling and your videos. Well, and I had this image in my head of a teleportation door transition. So I walk through a door and come out somewhere completely different. So let's try this.